Welcome from San Diego, California. We are reaching you in English, Spanish, and Portuguese live through a unique and complex international telecommunications network via satellite, microwave, and cable. The International Training Center at San Diego State University brings us together once again through the original video conference program, which joins distinguished organizations representing education, business, and government in Mexico, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Ecuador, Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, Argentina, Spain, and the United States of America. We acknowledge the participation of the Organization of American States in Washington, D.C., and the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, in Geneva, Switzerland. My name is Farhad Saba, Professor of Educational Technology at San Diego State University, and I'm the moderator for today's program. As the ITC continues the series on global strategies for excellence, value, and optimal performance, we turn our attention to one of the most popular topics for business and industry today: e-commerce and services, myths, realities, and opportunities. Hardly a day goes by without major corporations, medium-sized businesses, and even small enterprises announcing electronic commerce or e-commerce initiatives. Corporations of all sizes and shapes are trying to establish their place in cyberspace and claim their stake in perhaps what will become known as the first gold rush of the 21st century. All over the world, from the Americas to Asia and beyond, new businesses, which did not even exist 5 years ago before the advent of the World Wide Web, have emerged that are involved in millions of dollars of transactions a day, all taking place online. A few of them have made their owners very rich, creating a new breed of millionaires, or dot-com millionaires. Tom Peters, one of the most popular business opinion leaders today, has been quoted in Infoworld.com, an online trade publication, as saying that over 85% of the companies trying to restructure their businesses around e-commerce will fail. Peters contends that these businesses put too much emphasis on technology and do not pay enough attention to the real issue in e-commerce, which is building relationships within and outside their organizations. So, what are the myths and realities of e-commerce? Are there real opportunities in electronic commerce, or is it an expensive venture without tangible benefits? Our presenters today, Dr. Ken Golden and Dr. Mark Badger, bring us a unique blend of experiences and qualifications to answer these and other questions. Our first speaker, Dr. Ken Golden, is a principal in a startup internet business, the International Technology and Training Corporation, or ITTC, that recently pre-launched the website www.intectra.com. The ITC is an e-commerce organization developed to provide information and communication technology, training and careers opportunity, and distance education to business, government, organizations, and institutions of higher education in Latin America, the Middle East, and India. As president of Golden Professional Corporation in Encinitas, California, Dr. Golden has been a management trainer and consultant for 16 years. He has specialized in virtual teamwork, change leadership, building and organization communication. Dr. Golden is also a visiting professor of management at Webster University in St. Louis, Missouri, where he has taught in Webster University's online graduate business program and coordinated the World Wide Web Collaborative Learning Project. Dr. Golden has been an assistant dean at San Diego State University and assistant professor at the University of Arkansas for medical sciences. He has published and spoken extensively and holds a PhD from University of Arkansas. Our second speaker is Dr. Mark Badger, who is in the public sector Internet Business Development Manager for Cisco Systems Incorporated, the world leader in networking for the Internet. As a member of Cisco's Internet Business Solutions Group, Dr. Badger is responsible for the development and implementation of Internet and network solutions within the state and local government sector. Dr. Badger has over 20 years of experience in strategic technology policy development, implementation, and management of information technology and telecommunications projects within government, higher education, and other public institutions. Prior to joining Cisco, Dr. Badger was Chief Information Officer for the state of Alaska, where he established Alaska's ranking as the #2 state in the United States for online e-commerce services. He was responsible for implementing numerous e-government projects that streamlined the delivery of high-volume government services to Alaska's citizens. These included online motor vehicle registration, business license applications, and the employment application services. He holds a PhD from Cambridge University's Faculty of Earth Sciences and Geography. Gentlemen, welcome to our program. I'd like to begin with a question. Is e-commerce for big organizations, for large organizations, or small companies can also benefit from that?
Thank you. I think that e-commerce is for all size companies. I can't think, in fact, of an organization that couldn't benefit from a presence on the Internet. I also think we need to remember, too, that most of the innovation and a lot of the leadership on the Internet has been from not only small businesses, but small institutions of higher education and local governments. So I think there's a place for all organizations.
It's another communication device as much as it is another way to conduct business. So any business that had to put a stamp on an envelope or pick up the telephone will see direct benefits from having a presence in that web sphere that exists today.
The organizations that are not getting involved in Internet e-commerce, are they taking a risk?
Well, I think that if you take the simplest piece, as, say, brochureware, of describing what your firm is, yes, I mean, people will, the choice that people will make in the future about how they get basic information about a firm or a business will be probably on the web instead of putting a stamp on an envelope. So, you know, if they don't get into it in that basic level, there's probably some risk to that.
Thank you for your answers. Let's begin now with Module 1, in which Dr. Ken Golden will present Internet-related trends, facts, and myths, and discusses issues in designing and implementing a successful e-commerce strategy.
Good day to all of you. Buenos días a todos. I am very honored to have been asked to speak to you today on such an exciting topic, e-commerce and services, myths, realities, and opportunities. it is actually a little fantastic to me that I can be considered to be an expert in this field. I am not an engineer, nor do I have years of experience in the Internet or e-commerce. Perhaps I was asked to address you not because I'm an expert, but because I'm an example of the opportunities in e-commerce and e-services that are open to you. I confess to you that I only bought a computer about 3.5 years ago. That was when a university I was affiliated with invited all the faculty who were still computer illiterates for a weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada, for our first hands-on experience with computers. Since that introduction, just a few years ago, I have coordinated a worldwide online learning project which brought together business students from Europe and America. I am currently teaching a course online, and I am also a principal in an Internet e-commerce venture that I will describe later in this program. Now, you may remember the recent ITC program on the e-organization. Today's program is a continuation of that one. E-commerce and e-services refer to trade and services that are accomplished or provided by the e-organization over the Internet. The Internet becomes the vehicle or the economic dimension for the e-organization. Trade and services on the Internet are provided in two basic ways: from one business to another business, which is referred to as B2B, and from a business to a consumer, or what is called B2C. In this presentation, I will be referring to Internet opportunities in business, as well as in education and government. Later, Mr. Mark Badger from the Cisco Corporation will be talking about delivery systems and hardware. Electronic commerce and services are not new, but they are becoming pervasive, certainly in the United States, Europe, and Japan. Out of a need to streamline processes, practically every business, government agency, and institution of higher education of every size and type is finding it important, if not mandatory, to add e-commerce and e-services. I would like to slightly reorder the main issues I've been asked to address today by beginning with one, opportunities, then discussing secondly, realities, and ending with thirdly, the myths. A recent University of Texas study estimated that the Internet economy, including revenues from e-commerce, software, and infrastructure, to be $301 billion in 1998. They projected it will reach $507 billion by the year 2000. The U.S. Department of Commerce estimated that the e-commerce market alone totaled $2.7 billion in 1996, grew to $21.8 billion in 1997, and then more than tripled to $73.9 billion in 1998. The Department of Commerce estimates that it could reach $1.2 trillion by the year 2002. In Latin America, it is predicted that e-commerce will grow to $82 billion by 2004, within a global internet economy that will reach nearly $7 trillion by that time. Internet-related jobs increased in number to 2.3 million in the first quarter of 1999, up from 1.6 million in the first quarter of 1998, a gain of almost 50%. These figures include new e-businesses that exist only on the Internet, as well as traditional businesses that have turned to the Internet to increase their access to and the services that they can offer to their customers. These traditional businesses with an Internet presence are called click and mortar organizations and include such companies as Walmart discount merchandise stores and Barnes & Noble booksellers. These figures also include very large traditional brick and mortar businesses such as auto manufacturers Ford and General Motors. These and many other increasingly large companies are turning to the Internet for the procurement of supplies. Brokerage companies such as the Charles Schwab Corporation are focusing customer sales and trading more and more on the Internet and away from the telephone or face-to-face broker sales. You will be hearing later from our other speaker about the Cisco Systems Cisco Connection Online, which is one of the most successful business-to-business e-commerce applications in the United States today. Estimates of the size and growth rate of e-commerce and e-services vary widely. All sources agree that the market is big and forecasted to grow very rapidly. Increasingly, consumers and businesses are turning to the Internet to conduct business. The Internet is no longer just a place to display corporate goods, your annual report, product literature. A vast array of goods and services can be selected, ordered, and serviced solely through websites. Consumers can purchase books, compact discs, airline tickets, golf clubs, office supplies, computers, stocks, and ostrich eggs, to mention only a few of the products that are available online. Medical, weather, and skiing information are only a few clicks away for the consumer. Businesses can purchase computer hardware, auto parts, hospital beds, and any range of support services totally online. In education now, teachers use the Internet to enrich existing instructional programs for their students. It is also used to provide continuing education for teachers and administrators. Institutions of higher education are offering not only entire courses online, but also entire degree programs over the Internet. University administrators have turned to the Internet to facilitate and coordinate such functions as admissions and records, financial aid, and recruitment. Governments are beginning to realize that they can provide a one-stop site for all of their citizens' needs. Governments in Singapore, Austria, and Britain have embarked on reducing the complexity and, I have to say, inefficiency of bureaucracies through Internet governmental portals. These portals are being designed to allow citizens to find what they are looking for by simply accessing the Internet site and typing into their computers a simple question. The citizen does not need to know about the organizational complexity behind the scenes, because the portal will take him or her smoothly to where he or she wants to go. Governments are finding that the Internet is very effective in solving problems that often require complex collaboration between employees of various departments. Common access for government employees to information enables them to work better together across all departments. And now, with the development of wireless technology, these same Internet goods and services can be accessed without the cable tethers of a personal computer. By touching a button on the dashboard of your car, a portable digital device can be accessed. Cell phones now supersede PCs in Europe and Japan as the main entry point to the Internet. Currently, about 3/4 of all e-commerce takes place in the United States. The United States also accounts for 90% of commercial websites. But given that the Internet is, by its very nature, global, these statistics are likely to change as local language sites increase, more people become proficient in English, and investments in infrastructure and connectivity to the Internet increase around the world. Why, you only have to spend a few hours online to recognize the potential of the Internet. It is clear that the use of the Internet for business and commerce and governmental and educational services is only limited by our imaginations and access to the Internet. I would like to move on to the Internet realities. This is the how to do it portion where I would like to devote the majority of my presentation. Let's confront first this reality. All right, let's just say perhaps some of you will be inspired by today's program, and you will rush off to your boss and you will say to your boss, I saw this ITC program about e-commerce and e-services. We need to take our organization online immediately. Now think, how many of your bosses would respond with this? The Internet? Why? That's wonderful. I've heard of it. Great. Let's do it then. I'll write you a check right away. Okay. Be honest now. Raise your hand as if your boss is likely to respond in that way. I don't see too many hands being raised. How come? Well, moving online requires a significant change in how we do business and provide services. This change is often the single greatest challenge for senior management of established organizations and industries. Some of you may remember an earlier ITC broadcast on the management of opportunities and conflict presented by globalization. In that broadcast, I spoke about conflict and resistance as a natural reaction to change, one that must be anticipated and planned for. E-commerce and e-service innovators and organizations can be unprepared, overwhelmed, and discouraged by the amount of resistance to change that their ideas can generate. You may remember in that other program I spoke of 4 types of resistance to change: personal, structural, cultural, and environmental. Very briefly, personal resistance refers to the natural response of people to anything that is new and that threatens their comfortable work situation. Now, going online with services and business requires learning a whole new set of skills, a whole way of doing business that may be threatening to individuals who are very set in their ways. I spoke also how the structure of organizations can impede change. For instance, I know of one public university that is aggressively seeking to offer more courses online, totally online, to its students in order to increase its enrollment capacity. Now, despite many inspirational speeches, added equipment, increased staff, interestingly, very few new online courses have been developed by the faculty. Many of the faculty are interested in doing so, but the traditional reward system of the university is based on research, publication, and lastly, teaching. There are few rewards in place in the structure of the university to compensate or reward a faculty member for the enormous amount of time it takes to develop a course online. The structure of governmental agencies can also create resistance to the adoption of Internet solutions. As monopolies, governmental agencies are not threatened by new Internet-based competitors. Nor, I must say, are people running government services likely to be rewarded with large share options or equity for devising some Internet solutions. Thirdly, an organization's culture may also inhibit the development of new opportunities. Again, for instance, if innovators are continually discouraged by insecure managers, a no-risk culture develops. Workers will shy away from change because the perceived risks to their careers are too great. Online services and businesses, for most organizations, are not just another new technology they can adopt easily. It is often experienced as a disruptive technology, one that overturns a traditional business model. Now, those who have invested money, time, effort in the previous business model, your suppliers, employees, bankers, shareholders, even your customers, are likely to resist change. And lastly, there are often environmental constraints. That is, resistance to change from outside of the organization. This can include the lack of infrastructure, lack of access to computers or connectivity to the Internet, the cost of connecting to the Internet by phone, for instance, in Japan and Europe, are environmental constraints. Other inhibitors include governmental attempts to control or regulate Internet content, as well as restrictive trade policies. Now, in the face of all this potential resistance, a clear-cut change strategy must be developed very early on in the process. And I would like now to apply aspects of a change model described by Harvard University's James Cotter to our discussion. This process can be applied to any change program, but we will be focusing on the introduction of e-commerce or e-services into a business, governmental, or educational setting. The first step is establishing a sense of urgency The major problem confronting any innovator in a large organization can be getting someone's attention. That is being taken seriously. Unfortunately, many organizations are complacent, particularly those with market leadership. Innovators must push up the urgency level. The CEO of any organization, be it in business, government, or education, is critical to success from the outset. The executive must be on board in heart and soul for the complex and far-reaching innovations that Internet commerce and services require. The CEO must be convinced of the potential impact of the Internet. A CEO who regularly uses the Internet will not need convincing. Perhaps the best way to increase the sense of urgency for CEOs who are not conversant with the Internet is by walking them through their competitors or other organizations' successful eNet programs. Personally experiencing e-commerce on the Internet is the best motivator. Step 2 is creating a guiding coalition. A major transformation such as an Internet presence is never the result of one individual's work, no matter how powerful or charismatic. An effective team with representation from all levels of the organization is important. The right membership is essential. Individuals with relevant high-tech experience and expertise are important. The team should include people with good reputations and proven credibility so that the change program will be taken seriously. Effective mainline managers who will be asked to implement the changes and integrate new services should be included. Customers and suppliers should participate on the team. And lastly, the team should include proven organizational leaders capable of driving the change process. The third step is developing a vision and a strategy. The guiding coalition will study their customer needs. They will analyze e-commerce and service strategies of current and potential competitors and other organizations or institutions. Studying the application of successful Internet applications will generate insights into what works and what does not work. The guiding coalition will identify the organization's current capabilities and perform an audit to determine what capabilities will be needed. A vision or the picture of the future will then develop of how the Internet applications will work. This serves three purposes. The vision provides direction, the vision motivates people, and lastly, it helps coordinate activities. Strategies for achieving the vision should be clearly stated. Specific objectives such as enhanced service, better quality, faster response time, and lower costs should be built into the vision statement. The new Internet application should be radical enough to produce big performance improvement, but practical enough to be achievable. The fourth stage is communicating the vision. The vision of the guiding coalition must be communicated in every possible medium and as often as possible throughout the organization in order to develop understanding, reduce resistance, and generate enthusiasm. Feedback should be elicited from the customers and from suppliers so that the vision and the process can be accurately attuned to benefit these critical external stakeholders.